Welcome to the lecture series of signal system. In this lecture we will discuss linear time invariant, or it is also called linear shift invariant systems. Name itself suggests that the system which follows basically earlier we have seen many characteristics of the system. In all those characteristics like linear system, non-linear, invariant, variant, causal, non-causal, and dynamic, static, many characteristics are there for a system. But out of those characteristics, the system which have only two property means the system is a linear system. If the system is linear, and also it is time variant. So out of all those characteristics of the system, we will emphasize on the two characteristics only, which is linear and time invariant property of the system. So if the system is linear, earlier we have seen the meaning of linear. If a system is linear, it means that if many input signals are given at the input side of the system, we can obtain the output of the system by summing of all those output produced by individual input. So if at the input given signal is AX1 plus BX2 and output produced by X1 is Y1 and output produced by X2 is Y2, then output can also be found as AY1 plus BY2. So being linear means if many signals are given at the input side of a linear system, then output is the summation of all those outputs produced by individual inputs X1 and X2. So if system has this property of linearity, then we can dissolve a given input xt into components. We can dissolve a input signal into components and we can find out output for each component, and by summing up those components we can find out output of the system, which is sum of in output produced by the individual components of the xt. This we can apply on this system only when the given system is a linear system. Also, the system is time invariant means if a shift is given to the input, the same shift will appear at the output of the system. So if the input signal xt is represented into shifted form of a signal, components of a shifted signal, then output can also be found out by shifting the output by the same quantity. So it will help in analyzing the system when an input is given and we have to find out output of the system. And many of the physical systems, they are very close to linear time invariant systems. That's why we are mainly emphasizing on those terms which is linear and time invariant. So by definition it says that a system which is linear as well as time invariant is called linear time invariant system. It means that system which follows law of superposition and homogeneity. This condition is for linearity of the system, superposition and homogeneity. This property is for the linearity of the system, and whose input output characteristics does not changes with time. If input output characteristic does not changes with time, it means that the given system is time invariant system. For an LTI system, all coefficients of differential equation describing the system should be constant. Next, yes, if in this discussion we will see if somehow if impulse response of a system is given, means if the output of the system is known for a given impulse signal, then we can find out the output of the system for any given signal. Means if there is a system S and output of the system is known, if input is applied, suppose it is HT, this ST is known, means response of the system is known for an impulse input, then we can find out response of the system for any given input. What I mean to say is, if HT is known, then we can find out the value of YT. How? Because any given signal, any general signal can be represented as sum of components of delta function. Any given signal can be represented in the form of shifted impulse function, as a combination of shifted impulse function. So any general signal, either it is continuous or it is discrete, we can write the signal in terms of shifted form of impulse signals. As we have seen earlier, how we can represent a discrete time system into impulses. Suppose a signal is given like this. This is 0. At 0, value of the signal is 0. At -1, suppose it is 1. At -2, suppose it is -3/2 amplitude of the signal. Suppose at 1, amplitude of the signal is 2, and at 2, amplitude of the signal is 1/2. Then if we want to represent this signal in the form of combination of impulses, then we can write it as at -2, value of the signal is -3/2. So we will write it as -3/2 delta n plus 2. For this, at -1, amplitude of the system signal is, at -1, amplitude of the signal is 1, then we will write it as +1 delta n plus 1. At 0, it is 0, so no need to write. At n is equal to 1, it is 2, so I will write it as amplitude and shifted form of delta, which is delta n minus 1, plus at 2 it is 1/2, so I will write 1/2 delta n minus 2. We will see in all these cases the signal is written as amplitude of the signal at the point, amplitude of the signal multiplied by shifted form of delta function. So I can also write this amplitude as x of -2, because it is value of the signal at -2. We can write this +1 as, delta x of -1, because it is value of the signal at n is equal to -1. we can write this 1 by 2 as x of 2. So we can rewrite this signal as x of minus 2 delta n minus 2 n plus 2, x of minus 2 delta n plus 2. I will use some different color. X of minus 2 delta of n plus 2 plus x of minus 1 delta of n plus 1 plus x of 1 delta n minus 1 plus x of 2 delta n minus 2. So in this way we can write any given signal in the form of shifted impulses, and we can generalize this summation as signal xn. Let me rewrite. Signal xn can be written as sigma k from minus infinite to plus infinite xk del of n minus k. So any general signal xn can be written as summation of shifted impulses, where xk here is it is arbitrary constant. K is arbitrary constant. Xk is the amplitude of the signal at given time k. Xk is the amplitude of the signal at given value of n is equal to k, and delta n minus k is the shifted impulse. So any general discrete time signal can be written as this equation. Very important equation. And if signal is a continuous time signal, then we can write this signal as x of t is equal to, in place of summation sigma, we will use integration k from minus infinite to plus infinite, or we will use a different variable x tau delta t minus tau. So a general signal xt can be written in this form. Again, this is a general form of a signal to represent it in the form of shifted impulses. So if output for all those impulses is known, if output for all these impulses is known, suppose output for this is h n plus 2, because suppose for the delta n output is hn, means impulse response is known, hn is known. Then for delta n, because here comes the property of time invariant, if for the delta n output is hn, then for delta n plus 2 output will be h of n plus 2. For delta n plus 1 output will be h of n plus 1. Similarly, for delta n minus 1 output will be h of n minus 1. For this, output will be delta h of n minus 2, because this is happening because the given system is time invariant system. In the time invariant system, if a shift is given at the input, then same shift will appear at the output side also. So if the output for the delta n is hn, then output for delta n plus 2 will be h of n plus 2, and output for h delta n plus 1 will be h of n plus 1. This will happen for all the given inputs, and in this way we can write the output of the signal as a summation of impulse responses of the system. We can write, listen again, we can write the output of the system in the form of summation of the impulse responses of the system. So we can write it as, why we can write in the form of summation? Because given system is a linear system also. It has linearity, then we can sum up all the impulse responses, and we will shift the impulse responses for the shifted impulses, because the system is time invariant. So in general we will write output as yn is equal to k from minus infinite to plus infinite xk h of n minus k. So this is the formula when impulse response of the system hn is known. Then to find out the output of the system for any general signal xn, the hn is known, means response of the system for an impulse input is known, and we have to find out response of the system for another input xn. Then to find the response of the system for a general input xn, we will use this formula, and this is very 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 important formula in the context of signals and systems, and it is known as convolution summation. Convolution summation. Convolution summation formula. And for I will discuss again for the continuous time signals, but as an analogy we will write the convolution formula for the continuous time signals, or we can say that for continuous time systems, as yt is equal to t tau from minus infinite to plus infinite x tau h of t minus tau d tau. X tau into h of t minus tau d tau. So the general form for discrete as well as, remember this, in this form k is from minus infinite to plus infinite xk h of n minus k. Then it is xk h of n minus k, and it is written as xn convolution with hn. This is sign for the convolution. So yn can be written as, this is general form of the output, yn is equal to xn convolution with hn. For continuous time signal, we will write it as yt is equal to xt convolution with ht, which is written in this form: x tau h of t minus tau d tau. Here consider as yn is given as n from k from minus infinite to plus infinite xk h of n minus k. If I will replace this n minus k by z, so n minus k is equal to z, suppose, then limit on the z will be, if k is equal to minus infinite, then this z will become minus infinite. If k will be plus infinite, then this z will be plus infinite. So limit will remain same and k will become n minus z. So here k will become n minus z. I will write this summation as x of n minus z h z. Again, this is convolution. Formula of convolution, it can be write it as, we can change the variables, put k in place of z, we will find that this yn will become sigma z is from minus infinite to plus infinite x of n minus z h z. Replace the variable z by k, you will find k from minus infinite to plus infinite hk x of n minus k. It means that in the formula of convolution, either we can write sigma xk h of n minus k, or we can write sigma x of n minus k hk, which is equal to hn convolution with xn. It means that xn convolution with hn is same as hn convolution with xn. It means that the convolution follows the commutative law. Convolution follows the commutative law. Next, here in the document also it is written, if delta n produces hn, then delta n minus k will produce h of n minus k, and we will write the output of the system directly in this form, which is called convolution summation. Next, it is, if I will replace n minus k by z, we will find it as given here. For continuous time systems, we will write general formula of convolution as xt convolution with ht will be equal to x of tau h of t minus tau, where limit on the tau is from minus infinite to plus infinite. Tau is from minus infinite to plus infinite. It means that in the continuous time system also, any continuous time signal can be represented as the summation of shifted impulses, and as I told you earlier, general signal xt can be written as can be written as x of k delta of n minus k, where k is from minus infinite to plus infinite. So if the output of the system is known for an impulse function, then we can find out the output of the system for any given input. This is the concept of convolution. Convolution has some properties which I stated before this. First property is commutative property. Convolution follows commutative property. It means if I will do xt convolution with ht, it will be same as ht convolution with xt. Also, it will follow distributive property, which means that if systems are given in parallel, we can replace this system by a single system having impulse response h1 plus h2. Here, if convolution of xt is given with h1 plus h2, we can distribute this xt on the h1 and h2 as xt convolution with h1t plus xt convolution with h2t. Or in the simple way, we can say that if systems are given in parallel having impulse responses h1t and h2t, then we can replace this system by a single system having impulse response h1t plus h2t. The associative property states that if it is given xt convolution with h1t convolution with h2t, then we can convolve them in any order. We can first convolve xt with h1t, and then result of this convolution can be convolved with h2t, or first we can convolve ht with h2t and then with h1t. So it is associative property of the convolution. Remaining properties we will discuss in next lecture. This is all for this lecture. Thank you.